Hildegard has visions, even as a small child, and it upsets her mother terribly, and she sends him to a convent. Hilda is from a very rich family and gives the convent a lot of money, the church a lot of money, and they take her in and they treat her like she's, I don't know, like royalty, and they believe that she is very spiritual, kind of like a high priestess or I don't know what you want to call her, but anyways, it's really Hildegard having visions, and nobody wants to accept this. Anyways, when they get into the church, they get blocked away. Bricked in to 2 rooms, and Hildegard spends the next 30 years of her life there. I've barely been able to put this book down. Really, if there wasn't anything else going on in my life, I would have read it all the way through. It is surprisingly good. Done. There's 269 pages. I'm on 242, and right now it's kind of sad. It's like Hildegard's very best friends that she's been around for like 20 years or 25 years are starting to leave her now, starting to doubt her a little bit, and it's kind of heartbreaking. Once in a while, I actually think the Hildegard shows a little bit too much attitude now towards the end, but anyways, try it out. It's a good book. The only thing is about her being locked away all those years. I just finished reading the Women in the Castle, and this one's about the war, and it's sad. So I was thinking the only thing good about her being locked away in the room for 30 years was the fact that she missed a lot of the wars and the terrible things going on, even though Hildegard lives in a time period much earlier than Hitler. Still, there was Napoleon, and there's different wars going on around the world, and one thing is she did miss a lot of the terrible things going on, but still locked in 2 rooms for 30 years is terribly hard. The Rules of Magic. I found this a very calm kind of book. It's the book before Practical Magic. If you ever watched the movie called Practical Magic, this is the book that leads up to that movie, which is also a book. Practical Magic is also a book, but I haven't read it myself. Couldn't put down. I have a bit of a headache, so sorry. I'm going to bed. The Ghost Bride. It has a lot of suspense, and it actually just kept me reading right on through it. The Chinese afterlife and their beliefs, and the main girl in this book gets caught up in that world. Well, her spirit does, and the things that she goes through and the people that she meets. It was interesting. I liked it, and yeah, I found it a really good read. Just a few tidbits. Prunella does not know who her mother is, and her father, she knows, killed herself, leaving her at a school that trains women how not to use magic, because if they have magic in them, they're not allowed to use it except for very small household chores and things like that. It's not smiled upon for women to have magic. Zacharias holds the position of Sorcerer Royal, and a lot of people don't like him in that position because he was not born of a high society family. And then Prunella comes into his life, and he also has the spirit of his father with him. For certain reasons, his father stays with him. It's kind of like an obligation that the father has to stay with him. And it actually has some humor to it. It's pretty good. I found some of the conversations a little long. I don't know. The conversations sometimes seem to drag out, but it's a good book. And it's, like I say, it's got some wit, it's got some humor. Prunella, gets some stones, which are, I won't tell you what they are, but they're magical. And she gets some magic from her mother. She gets a lot of magic from her mother, as she finds out later on in the book. It's worth checking out. So England's amount of magic is disappearing. They had once an immense amount of magic, and they don't know why it's disappearing. And Zachariah has to find this out. And of course, he has Prunella with him now. Zachariah takes off for Fairyland to try to ask the Queen there what's going on, if she knows why their magic is dwindling. And the first time he gets his head through the magic border, he gets slammed so hard with magic he gets set right back on his butt in the grass. Ella finds out that her dad did leave her something. She doesn't find this out until she's a little older. And there's 7 stones. They turn out to be eggs. And there's an orb. And she doesn't realize it's an orb at first. But they're all magical. They're all very important. And she finds out from another great witch how to use them. There is a fair bit of political matters in this book between Britain and France, and because of the magic, and they don't want the government to know that they're losing their magic. Some of the political talking gets a little slow. Some of the things that Prunella does are a little bit headstrong, rushed into. But it has wit and it has humor, even though it's a little bit slow at times. It still has it does have a lot of action. I found it hard at first. The first chapter drew me in, and then it seemed to slow right down. But I kept with it and kept going, and there's a lot of humorous parts and serious parts.